I want to thank my fellow nominees.
Thank you. Tell us about yourself.
Remember me? I always brush my teeth.
Who are you?
Jack Nicholson is cinema's eternal wildcard.
Baptist.
Charismatic rebel who turned unpredictability into an art form, with eyebrows raised like question marks and a grin that could charm or terrify in equal measure.
I think I am.
Nicholson mastered the delicate balance between madness and magnetic allure, evoking the aura of a cinematic titan.
Holy shit. I'm a movie star.
Each of his performances feels like an intimate exploration of human complexity,
You want to be me?
shifting seamlessly from humorous irreverence to chilling intensity. In iconic roles such as Jack Torrance,
Darling?
Randall McMurphy, and the Joker, Nicholson didn't just play characters, he embodied them, elevating the very act of storytelling. He navigated Hollywood's shifting tides with defiant confidence, never compromising authenticity for comfort.
You want answers?
Now, let's dive deeper into the life behind that legendary grin, exploring the man, the myth, and everything that shaped Jack Nicholson into the icon we know today.
Jack Nicholson never walked down the aisle.
A Hollywood icon known not just for his unforgettable roles, but also for his silence.
Jack Nicholson is still cooler than most of us.
The genesis of a cinematic legend, John Joseph Nicholson, occurred on April 22, 1937 in the town of Neptune City, New Jersey. His early life was marked by a significant familial secret. His mother, June Nicholson, known professionally as June Nilsson, was a young showgirl. While his biological father was likely a close family friend, Jack remained unaware of this truth for many years. Shortly after his birth, his unmarried 17-year-old mother entrusted him to her own parents, who raised him as their own. Young Jack grew up believing his grandmother was his mother and his actual mother was his older sister. This intricate family deception shrouded his childhood in a veil of unspoken truth. Jack's formative years were spent in the coastal towns of New Jersey. He was a lively and mischievous child, known for his antics at school, where he constantly sought to amuse his peers and test the patience of his teachers. It came as no surprise when he was voted class clown in high school. His boundless energy and playful grin both intrigued and occasionally exasperated those around him, but they certainly never rendered him ordinary. Nearing the end of his high school education, his family, perhaps seeking to instill discipline, directed him towards military service. In 1957, he enlisted in the California Air National Guard. However, this chapter was short-lived. Immediately following his military training, Jack, declaring, "My battlefield will be Hollywood," set his sights on Los Angeles. In the late 1950s, Nicholson arrived in Hollywood with aspirations as vast as the city itself.
Oh, that's all right. I'll just wait outside.
Initially, his focus was less on the camera and more on the drawing board. He secured a position as a trainee animator at the renowned Hanna-Barbera studio and even spent a period working as an office clerk at MGM Studios, diligently attempting to gain a foothold in the industry. Yet, his heart yearned for acting.
All these things about age and time and everything is,
You ain't seen nothing yet.
While working in the studios during the day, he dedicated his evenings to acting classes, immersing himself in the nuances of the performing arts.
But I tried, didn't I? God damn it. At least I did that.
By the early 1960s, he began to appear in small theatrical productions and commercials. His entry into Hollywood may not have been a grand spectacle, but Nicholson possessed a patient determination. Much like embodying a character, he was methodically preparing for his role as a star.
I'm a movie star.
The most significant revelation about his family came in 1974.
Jack must be here.
He refrains from television.
A researcher from Time magazine contacted Nicholson, disclosing an astonishing secret. The woman he had known as his sister, June, was in fact his biological mother, and his grandmother was his actual maternal grandmother. Nicholson's reaction to this startling truth was remarkably composed. Reflecting on his personal psychological state at the time, he stated, "It could only be a dramatic part of my life, not a trauma." Having already become a storyteller in his own right, he met this cinematic twist in his own life with a sense of maturity. Jack Nicholson's childhood and family history, due to this extraordinary secret, became a compelling narrative even within the annals of Hollywood legends. Perhaps it was a twist of fate. The very actor who would portray countless characters grappling with identity and reality had first had to confront the unmasking of his own.
What are you running away from?
Turn your back to the front seat.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
That's what you love about Jack, is he's an original and he doesn't care about the behaving part.
I like fun. What can I say?
Holding a foothold in Hollywood, especially during the fiercely competitive 1960s, was no easy feat for the young Jack Nicholson. In his early career, the red carpet was not rolled out for him. He forged his own path. His first foray in front of the camera in 1958 was a low-budget production titled The Cry Baby Killer, where he played a rebellious youth in the lead role. While the film didn't make waves, it provided Jack with a taste of the set environment and the thrill of being on screen. This experience led him to meet producer Roger Corman, and throughout the 60s, Nicholson found himself in numerous low-budget horror and thriller films directed by Corman. He took on small roles in films like Little Shop of Horrors and The Raven, while also nurturing an interest in screenwriting. In fact, he penned the screenplay for the LSD-themed film The Trip in 1967. Looking back on that period, Nicholson would later reflect,
Roger, if you'd paid me over minimum, you would have had Easy Rider.
Indeed, by the late 1960s, Nicholson had paid his dues, shed his inexperience, and had become an actor poised for a breakthrough. And that explosion occurred in 1969, when Dennis Hopper's low-budget motorcycle hippie film Easy Rider unexpectedly broke box office records and became a cultural phenomenon. The supporting actor in the film also captured everyone's attention.
My character came on the screen, and the movie exploded in that audience.
In Easy Rider, Nicholson portrayed George Hanson, an alcoholic lawyer. His portrayal of this man, rambling about aliens around a campfire with a whiskey bottle in hand and a football helmet on his head, was so captivating that despite appearing in only a small portion of the film, he remained the most memorable character for the audience. Interestingly, it was this role that earned Nicholson his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
Indians.
Hollywood suddenly began to wonder, who is this new guy? Easy Rider served as a launchpad for Jack Nicholson. A talent that had been simmering on the periphery for years was finally propelled into the spotlight. The early 1970s marked a period of ascent in Nicholson's career. His role in 5 Easy Pieces firmly established him as a leading man. In this film, his portrayal of Robert Bobby Dupea, a pianist grappling with existential angst, was unforgettable. The famous diner scene, where Bobby's stubborn insistence on having his toast prepared a certain way, escalates into a heated argument with the waitress and culminates in him smashing the table, became a cinematic landmark. For this performance, Nicholson received his first Best Actor Oscar nomination. Critics were already debating whether he was the new Marlon Brando or James Dean. However, he was neither. He was Jack Nicholson, and he was writing his own legend.
But if you leave the camera rolling...
The 1970s were incredibly fruitful for Nicholson. He starred in a string of cult classics. In 1973, he played a rule-breaking sailor in The Last Detail and earned another Oscar nomination. In 1974, his portrayal of private detective Jake Gittes in Roman Polanski's masterpiece Chinatown was perhaps one of the most classic performances of his career. While Chinatown cemented its place in cinema history as a film noir classic, Nicholson, unlike the conventional leading men of the era, embodied the anti-hero detective with his fedora, a wounded face with a bandaged nose, and an insatiable curiosity, making this image iconic. His realistic reactions in the famous nose-slashing scene, where Polanski himself plays the gangster who cuts Jack's nose, riveted audiences, receiving Oscar nominations for both The Last Detail and Chinatown in the same year, propelled Nicholson into Hollywood's top tier. And then came 1975, one of the pinnacles of Nicholson's career. In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he embodied the rebellious, free-spirited inmate Randall Patrick McMurphy, who challenges the societal norms within a mental institution. Nicholson played played a man who feigned madness to enter the institution, but genuinely rebelled against the system within it with such conviction that viewers were left questioning who was truly mad, the patients or the establishment. The character of McMurphy perfectly aligned with Nicholson's rebellious spirit. At times, he would raise a single eyebrow with a sly grin, mocking the system, while at others, he would erupt in anger, defiantly confronting his surroundings. The psychological duels between McMurphy and the authoritarian nurse Ratched, played by Louise Fletcher, became some of the most tense moments in cinematic history. The film won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and Jack Nicholson took home the Oscar for Best Actor. He was no longer just a box office draw, he was a serious actor lauded by the Academy. To say that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest elevated Nicholson to legendary status wouldn't be an exaggeration. The role of McMurphy remains his most unforgettable performance to this day. In the latter half of the 1970s and throughout the 1980s, Nicholson sustained his success with a diverse range of productions. In 1980, he left his mark on the horror genre with his portrayal of Jack Torrance in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Based on Stephen King's novel, the film saw Nicholson play a writer who slowly descends into madness while isolated in a remote hotel during winter. His iconic scene, where he chases his wife and son with an axe, breaking through the door and yelling, "Here's Johnny," and became one of cinema's most memorable lines. Despite Kubrick's demanding nature, with endless retakes and psychological tension, Nicholson delivered a performance of immense energy. The Shining initially received mixed reviews at the box office. It has since become a cult classic, showcasing Nicholson's masterful navigation of the thin line between madness and genius. The 1980s brought Nicholson another Oscar. His role as the aging astronaut Garrett Breedlove in the 1983 film Terms of Endearment proved the breadth of his acting range. While the film centered on the emotional journey of a mother and daughter, Nicholson's supporting role as the flirtatious, womanizing former astronaut neighbor added both humor and warmth. Despite having limited screen time, he shone in every scene, and the Academy awarded him his second Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Nicholson thus became one of the rare actors to win Oscars in both lead and supporting roles. In Prizzy's honor, he played a mafia hitman, and in The Witches of Eastwick, a devilish man, with Nicholson exuding his dark charm in both films. 1989 marked a monumental turning point in Nicholson's career from a commercial standpoint.
Daddy's going to make some art, darling.
In Tim Burton's adaptation of the comic book, Jack Nicholson brought to life the notorious Gotham City villain, the Joker. While portraying a comic book character on the big screen may not have held the same prestige as it does today, Nicholson, with his instincts, recognized this as an unforgettable opportunity.
No Picasso, but...
With his monstrous makeup, maniacal laughter, and cutting wit, his Joker arguably overshadowed the titular Batman in the film. Nicholson received a then astronomical fee for the role and negotiated a brilliant deal. He reduced his standard $10 million salary to $6 million, but secured a significant percentage of the film's box office and merchandise sales. When the film achieved massive global success, Nicholson reportedly earned over $60 million. His portrayal of the Joker was so beloved that actors who would later play the role, like Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix, would always be compared to Nicholson.
You can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
In the 1990s, Nicholson not only maintained his fame, but solidified it further. He was now past middle age, but this opened doors to mature and charismatic roles. In the 1992 film, A Few Good Men, despite appearing in only a few scenes, he managed to dominate the entire film. Set in a military courtroom drama, Jack Nicholson played Colonel Nathan R. Jessup, a stern Marine Corps officer. In the tense interrogation scene, where the young lawyer Tom Cruise exclaims, "I want the truth!" Swing, Jessup's reply became iconic. "You can't handle the truth!" Nicholson's single monologue was delivered with such force. Despite appearing for perhaps less than 15 minutes in the film, he earned another Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor and gifted popular culture with a memorable line. His fury on his face in that scene, his voice booming without a tremor, and the piercing look in his eyes sent shivers down the audience's spines. Once again, Nicholson demonstrated how to immortalize a character within a limited time frame. In 1997, Nicholson achieved another major success, this time in the romantic comedy drama genre. In As Good as It Gets, he played Melvin Udall, a curmudgeonly writer with obsessive compulsive disorder. Melvin was a man with OCD, a foul mouth, and a complete disregard for politeness towards those around him. However, as his relationships with his dog, his neighbors, and the waitress he falls for evolve throughout the film, Melvin's softer side emerges. Nicholson portrayed this challenging character with such mastery that the audience, initially repulsed by him, found themselves embracing him by the film's end. Legend. This performance earned Nicholson the Best Actor Oscar, his second lead actor Oscar after a 22-year gap. Moreover, winning this award as an actor nearing 60, surpassing younger contenders, further cemented his mastery. Nicholson showcased his skill in blending comedy and drama.
I'm drowning here, and you're describing the water.
He was one of the rare actors who could make you laugh in one scene and move you to tears in the next.
You make me want to be a better man.
By the 2000s, Jack Nicholson had reached the status of a legend, a living treasure of Hollywood. Yet, he continued to work without slowing down. In 2002, he starred in About Schmidt, playing a retired insurance executive who reevaluates his life after the death of his wife. This role was one of Nicholson's most subdued and introspective in years. There were no exaggerated gestures or loud tirades. Instead, there was a melancholic expression on his face and the portrayal of suppressed emotions. He received another Oscar nomination for this film. In 2006, he returned to the big screen as Frank Costello, a diabolical mafia boss in Martin Scorsese's The Departed.
Would you rather wipe my ass for me?
The character of Costello was inspired by the real-life gangster Whitey Bulger, a ruthless man, and Nicholson, after a long hiatus, played a truly villainous character for the first time. He went to no limits for the role, to snorting cocaine wildly in bar scenes, and the film was a major success, winning 4 Oscars, including Best Picture. In 2007, he starred alongside Morgan Freeman in The Bucket List. In this film, Nicholson played a wealthy but unhappy businessman. On his deathbed, he was Edward, a grumpy man who creates a bucket list to experience life one last time. He both made audiences laugh and moved them to tears. The film achieved unexpected success at the box office, demonstrating that Jack Nicholson, even as an aging actor, could still draw audiences to the theaters.
I'm very proud of my ass.
Jack Nicholson's career journey was not just a smooth ascent. Behind the scenes, he also faced his own challenges and difficulties. For instance, his deep love for the Los Angeles Lakers basketball team sometimes caused tension on set. It's recounted that during the filming of Chinatown in 1974, Nicholson's constant focus on Lakers games and his absence from set on an important game day drove Polanski to frustration. His insistence on watching every game became so distracting that the director reportedly smashed a nearby television in frustration. Years later, Nicholson's Lakers devotion would become legendary, even written into his Batman contract so he could attend playoff games without interference. His experience working with Stanley Kubrick on The Shining was equally telling. While co-star Shelley Duvall was pushed to the edge by Kubrick's relentless demands, Nicholson managed to remain composed, channeling his frustration into performance. He once complained about being fed the same cold sandwiches every day, allegedly a tactic by Kubrick to agitate him. He had a remarkable ability to memorize long, dense monologues at the last minute and deliver them with emotional precision in a single take. Directors began to see him as a kind of insurance. When Nicholson was in a film, the performance would land. This trust allowed him to take risks others wouldn't. He accepted roles that could have easily backfired and turned them into unforgettable moments in cinema. His presence didn't just elevate scenes, it often redefined them. Jack Nicholson's persona, both on and off the screen, has cemented his status as one of Hollywood's most iconic and controversial figures. For decades, as perhaps Hollywood's most famous bachelor, he adorned the tabloids with tales of his romantic entanglements. In his youth, before achieving stardom, he married once. In 1962, he wed actress Sandra Knight. Their union produced a daughter, Jennifer, born in 1963. However, Nicholson's free spirit did not long abide by the confines of marriage. The couple divorced in 1968. This would be Nicholson's first and only marriage. Following his separation from Sandra Knight, Jack made a swift entry into Hollywood's Golden Bachelor Club. In the early 1970s, Nicholson embarked on a significant relationship with Angelica Houston, daughter of legendary director John Huston. Their chemistry sparked instantly at a 1973 Hollywood party, and soon after, they began living together. Their 17-year relationship became one of Hollywood's most iconic pairings, often praised as a blend of unconventional glamour. But Jack's wandering eye remained a problem. His numerous affairs eventually fractured the relationship, culminating in Houston discovering he had fathered a child with model Rebecca Broussard. Their breakup was dramatic, reportedly ending with Houston physically confronting Nicholson in a moment of rage. Nicholson's relationship with Broussard resulted in 2 more children, Lorraine and Raymond, though this period did did little to settle his bachelor lifestyle. Even while with Broussard, he continued to be linked with other women. By the mid-90s, the relationship dissolved. Over the years, Nicholson's name was tied to a wide range of public figures. Michelle Phillips, Kate Moss, and even Margaret Trudeau, then wife of Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. When asked about the latter, Nicholson famously joked that he was just doing his part for Canadian-American diplomacy. He later dated Twin Peaks actress Lara Flynn Boyle. Boyle would later say the relationship left her lost in his shadow. He often remarked that marriage was not for him, and he never remarried. Nicholson's off-screen antics weren't limited to romance. His name surfaced in several controversies, some legally serious. In 1977, Roman Polanski was arrested for sexually assaulting a minor at Nicholson's home while Jack was away. Though uninvolved, the incident stained Nicholson by association.
Well, I like young women, let's put it this way. I think most of men do, actually.
In 1994, he infamously attacked another driver's car with a golf club during a road rage incident, reportedly settling for $500,000 and publicly admitting he had lost his mind that day. A more serious legal matter emerged in 1996 when a woman named Catherine Sheehan accused him of physical assault. She claimed Nicholson invited her and a friend over, offered money for company, then became violent when asked for payment. The incident allegedly resulted in severe injury. Though Nicholson denied the claims, he reached an out-of-court settlement. She later attempted to reopen the case in 2000, citing lasting health effects, but the court dismissed it. While Nicholson never addressed the matter publicly in detail, the story lingers as one of the darker chapters in his life. Even lighter scandals became part of his mythos. Pamela Anderson recounted walking in on Nicholson mid-threesome at the Playboy Mansion, where he simply smiled at her and said, "Thanks, sweetheart."
Your mother will be proud.
In 2015, rumors surfaced about secret underground tunnels linking the mansion to Nicholson's home. Never confirmed, but widely believed. Whether wild or unsettling, these stories painted a portrait of a man whose off-screen life rivaled the chaos of his film roles. Nicholson embodied the contradictions of his era: intellectual yet impulsive, admired yet often morally ambiguous. Colleagues still speak highly of his talent and presence, and fans continue to idolize the persona, flawed, volatile, magnetic, that made Jack Nicholson not just a star, but a legend. As Jack Nicholson's cinematic career began to wind down in the late 2000s, his presence on screen became less frequent. After a small role in James L. Brooks's romantic comedy How Do You Know, 2010, he didn't appear in any new performances on the silver screen. Though he never officially announced his retirement, those close to him hinted that he had simply lost interest in acting. After years away from the public eye, Nicholson made a surprising and heartening appearance at the SNL 50th anniversary special, looking healthy and sharp. The appearance dispelled long-standing rumors about his health and confirmed that, while he may have stepped away from Hollywood's grind, he remained very much present and alert, just on his own terms. Still, even in his absence from film, echoes of Nicholson remain on screen, not just through his unforgettable performances, but through his lineage. His son, Ray Nicholson, has quietly stepped into the world of acting, gradually building a career of his own. Ray's most notable role to date came in the 2024 horror sequel, Smile 2, where he portrayed Paul Hudson, the deceased boyfriend haunting pop star Sky Riley, played by Naomi Scott. His performance drew comparisons to his father's iconic role in The Shining, with fans and critics noting the striking resemblance and eerie smile that echoed Jack Nicholson's portrayal of Jack Torrance. Though Ray is crafting his own artistic identity, there's an undeniable sense that the Nicholson legacy flickers on through him, less as a shadow, more as a torch passed forward. Of course, as the years pass, discussions about Jack Nicholson's life continue. Especially in recent years, those who take a more critical view of Hollywood's past are also scrutinizing his philandering and extensive scandal file. There are those who criticize him for problematic behavior in his relationships with women or for incidents of violence. Some ask, will everything he did be accepted just because he's a legend? While these criticisms contain valid points, Nicholson has always been a complex figure. Neither a completely innocent hero nor a villain to be crucified.